In a Unix-like operating system such as Linux, the management of processes and inter-process communication, or IPC, forms the backbone of system functionality. Processes transition through a series of states, carry unique identifiers, and often communicate with each other using mechanisms such as pipes and signals. These concepts, along with an understanding of how tools like Bash facilitate process control, provide a strong foundation for more advanced studies in operating systems. This narrated overview will introduce the process lifecycle, important system calls and functions, the role of the exec family in program execution, and some basic IPC approaches. By reviewing these ideas and practicing related commands, you will be equipped to explore how various processes cooperate in a modern Linux environment. A process in a Unix-like system is an instance of a running program. It evolves through several well-defined states. New. A process is being created but has not yet entered the ready queue. Ready. The process resides in memory, waiting to be assigned to a CPU core. Running. The process is currently executing instructions on the CPU. Waiting. The process is paused until a specific event occurs. This might include I/O completion or reception of a particular signal. Terminated. The process has finished execution and is awaiting cleanup by the operating system, if not already cleaned up. The kernel orchestrates transitions among these states to ensure fair scheduling, adequate resource allocation, and system-wide stability. By understanding these transitions, you can better interpret how your code or scripts behave under different workload conditions. Each process has a process ID, PID, which uniquely identifies it within the system. In turn, a process that creates another process is labeled the parent, and the newly created process is the child. This relationship is tracked by the parent process ID, PPID, in each child process. When you execute a command like PS, the displayed table often shows columns for PID and PPID. This helps administrators and developers trace the lineage of processes, for example, discovering which script spawned multiple child processes, or how daemons are structured under the init or system process. Among the many variants within the exec family, execl, execli, execlp, execv, execv, and so on, exec, is commonly used. Its signature roughly takes two main arguments: a file name, which is the executable to run, and an array of argument strings, often including the executable's name as the first entry. After a successful execbay call, the child's original code is discarded, and the new program starts its execution from its own main function. Execution never returns to the old code unless execv fails due to a missing executable or insufficient permissions. By separating creation, fork from loading, exec Unix-like systems can implement flexible workflows, for example, allowing environment variable adjustments or custom file descriptor handling before the new program begins. Even though processes in Unix Linux run in separate memory spaces, many tasks benefit from collaboration and data sharing among processes. Inter-process communication, or IPC, is the broad category for techniques that facilitate such collaboration. Without IPC, each process would exist in isolation, unable to exchange information or coordinate. Tasks like concurrent data processing, parallel computations, and real-time data feeds become much more difficult if processes do not have a means of communication. IPC thus forms the connective tissue that makes multiple processes, each focusing on a sub-problem, collectively address bigger goals. Pipes, one of the simplest IPC mechanisms. A pipe enables a unidirectional flow of data. The process writing to the pipe deposits data that another process can read out in a first-in, first-out, or FIFO order. Typically, pipes are used among related processes, such as a parent and its child or siblings, to pass data quickly without creating intermediate files. A signal is an asynchronous notification sent to a process to indicate an event has happened. Signals such as SIGINT, triggered by pressing keytrl+C, or SIGTERM, a standard termination request, are part of everyday usage. A process can catch and handle certain signals, ignore them, or rely on default handlers that usually terminate the process. These signals offer a basic but powerful method of alerting a process about unusual or immediate conditions needing attention. The Bash shell serves as a user-friendly layer atop the Linux kernel, allowing you to instantiate processes and use IPC without delving into the underlying system calls. When you type commands like ls lgrep tset sort, Bash creates multiple processes internally and links their standard input and output streams with pipes. The output of the first command, for example lscll, seamlessly becomes the input of the next grep text. Finally, that output travels as input to sort, which reorders the lines alphabetically or based on other sorting parameters. By chaining these commands with pipes, you build powerful one-liners that harness multiple small utilities. This is vital for tasks like searching logs, filtering data, or aggregating the output of different tools. Each command in the chain is a separate process, reading from its preceding process through a pipe and writing its results to the next. Despite the ominous name, the kill command is primarily a means of sending signals. By default, typing kill followed by a process ID instructs the kernel to send the term signal to that process, politely requesting it to shut down. You can specify signals by name or number. For instance, kill 9 followed by a process ID forces an immediate termination via the kill signal. In Bash scripting, the trap command allows you to execute specified commands when your script receives certain signals. For example, you might run trap rm/temp/mytempfilesygint to ensure the temporary file is removed if someone interrupts your script with Ctrl+C. This is an effective way to handle cleanup or logging tasks when the script terminates unexpectedly. To reinforce these theoretical concepts, a brief set of practical activities can help solidify understanding. These are not exhaustive, but are highly recommended for users new to process management and IPC on Linux. The ps command provides a snapshot of processes currently running on your system. For example, try ps f or ps-ux to get a detailed list including columns for user, process ID, parent process ID, CPU usage, memory usage, and the command line. You can also press various keys like M to sort by memory to better examine particular system resources. A simple example script might use lsl to list files in the current directory. Pipe this to grep text to select only lines that contain text. Finally, pipe that output into sort to order the resulting lines. Such a script helps you see how processes chain together, exchange data via pipes, reinforcing the IPC lessons from earlier sections. You might also extend this exercise by adding awk to reformat or extract specific columns from the data. By combining the theoretical groundwork with straightforward exercises, you can deepen your fluency in process management and communication on Unix or Linux systems. Observe how each process displays a unique PID, how the system transitions that process from creation to termination, and how child processes derive their PPID from their parent. Study the separation of process creation, fork, and program loading, execvap, recognizing that this design fosters flexible configurations in multiprocess applications. Then appreciate how IPC ensures data can flow or signals can be exchanged among these processes. By using commands like in Bash, you set up unidirectional pipes that link streams together. Through signals, you either orchestrate orderly shutdowns or respond to asynchronous events that require immediate attention. Whether your focus is on user-level commands like kill or trap, or on the lower-level system calls that make them possible, these are invaluable skills in understanding and harnessing the power of a Unix-like operating system. With these fundamentals in hand, you will be ready to tackle more complex topics, such as advanced IPC models, shared memory, semaphores, message queues, network programming, and the interplay of signals in robust daemons or long-running server processes. Your facility with commands like ps, top, kill, and simple pipelines in Bash will serve as a practical base for continued exploration. By diligently reviewing the life cycle of processes, the significance of PIDs and PPIDs, the role of the exec family in program execution, and the essential IPC mechanisms of pipes and signals, you can develop a sturdy mental model of how a Linux system juggles multiple tasks concurrently. The practical exercises encourage you to monitor live processes and experiment with small scripts using pipes. Whether you come from a systems programming background or simply want to improve your command line skills, these concepts form the core of understanding how user-level software interacts with the Linux kernel and with other running processes.